Charizard might just be the coolest Pokemon. What's not to love about this sassy fire-breathing pocket monster? But since I'm not ready to shell out 100 grand for his Pokemon card, I thought instead, today we could build him out of LEGO. Unfortunately for this happy dragon, these eye prints are the perfect parts to use for Charizard, so I'm gonna need to steal them. However, the round shape of this plate doesn't quite capture his angry Pokemon eyes. With these orange claws, we should be able to fix that. We can attach some round plates and a bar in order to connect the two parts together. Let's snap in that claw and swing it into place. Then, using this robot hand, we can add in another to really drive home Charizard's furrowed brow. That's looking sufficiently angry for now. I've built up his other eye, but we'll need to connect them together. For that, we can use this flamethrower charred hot dog. After a little finagling, the eyes are looking pretty good. The next thing to build up are the horns. We can construct them with a robot hand, a connector, this tan bar, and a cone. Let's snap those into the head. With his horns now in place, I think everyone's favorite starter Pokemon is starting to peek through. Now, turning our attention to his nose. These quarter tiles might just work for Charizard's nostrils. Let's build up some structure to connect them in. This robot hand allows for me to position the tiles. The compound angles we get from this setup do a decent job of capturing Charizard's unique nose. His teeth have always been a pretty iconic part of his look. For them, I'm going to use these small spikes, which are probably still a little big, but you can't win them all. Let's attach the teeth into his snout. Up next, we need something to fill this hole in the middle of his nose. These two parts should fill the gap, but unfortunately for the purists, I'm out of connection points, so logically we'll just have to shove it into place. It's actually surprisingly sturdy. We can add a curved slope here, and then test fit it with the eyes. In order to actually connect these two parts together, we're going to need to extend the nose build underneath his eyes. With our structure in place, we can clip in the eyes. We're definitely starting to get somewhere on this pocket monster. Let's go ahead and add in a neck connection with this socket. Next, let's steal a banana from this monkey. We should be able to use it to make Charizard's angry Pokemon eye a little more angry. Let's use a clip and some curved slopes to connect that in, and round out the head while we're at it. This new clip is one of the most useful parts that LEGO's made in the last few years. Let's use it here to clip this in. We can also take this opportunity to tile the top of his head, and then we can move on to building up a lower jaw for this fire lizard. For his little teeth, we can use these cow horns, which I'll connect into some rod ends. Around that, we can continue the lower jaw construction with a rounded plate, a slope, and a tile. I've been using these gold rods because the orange ones only just came out in a set, which is not exactly the most affordable. So for now, gold will have to do. A pair of robot arms and spikes can complete the lower jaw, and then we just need to add a little bit more so we can connect it in. As a finishing touch for his head, let's build up a pink tongue and snap that into place. And there we have it, Charizard's head. But we're gonna need his classic noodle neck if we wanna hold it up. Let's start off with this orange cone and add some rounded bricks. We can hide the studs with this tile before strengthening the whole assembly by threading a Technic axle through it. That'll also give us some connections for ball joints. Let's steal this minifigure's bandana. We can use it to partially hide this axle part before adding our final ball joint. With his neck done, let's build his iconic dragon wings. I've got these green Ninjago cloth parts that just so happen to have a teal backside. As far as I know, this is going to be our best option if we want to stick with official LEGO parts. The actual structure of the wings we can build with some orange Technic connectors. For me, this is a great opportunity to hide away some red axles so that they never again see the light of day. We can cap things off with an orange spike, and it's starting to look like a Charizard wing, but we still need to add a bony protrusion here. I'll build that up like we built Charizard's horns using an orange cone part. A couple of half pins and an orange tile can then attach things together. Now, it's time to add in that fabric wing membrane. A T-bar can connect this edge. Then, a pair of bars and a rounded plate can attach in the top and strengthen that connection we made earlier. I think I'm gonna have to leave the back of the wings looking like this, since I don't have any orange fabric that fits nicely over the membrane we already have. I think that's okay though, because the front side is really looking the part. Let's fill in these remaining holes with some half pins and then tile them off. With his wings secured, it's time to turn our attention to building up his tail. For his all-important tail flame, this Duplo part is perfect. We'll just need to figure out an illegal connection point that we can use. I'm able to pick up rare parts like this thanks to the support of my patrons and channel members, like longtime supporter Kendra Phillips. If you'd like to support me and my builds, that's the best way to do it. To show my thanks, I'm also releasing a part list for this build for all patrons and channel members. These dino tail parts are proving to be perfect for the underbelly of Charizard's tail. This gap conveniently fits a stud so that we can tile it off. Before we can start in on the orange upper section of the tail, we'll need to expand our connection points. Even though it's not quite the right color, I think this red bone will blend in well enough and give us a spot to add in a shell. To that, I'll connect a hexagon before continuing on the tail with some Technic connectors. We can use an orange dino tail for the tip. Then we can add in a couple system parts to ease some transitions and get the colors looking right. Now it's time to add in the all-important tail flame. With his tail now showing the life force of a healthy Charizard, we can start in on building his arms. For his claws, I think these spikes are actually a little too big, so to combat that, we can add this Technic bushing to one side. By using a part with an open stud, we should be able to connect them together. A bracket is perfect for that task. We can connect in the claws, and then add the bushings. That makes for some appropriately sized claws. Let's go ahead and add some clips for the wrist joint. To those, we can add a T-bar. Let's tile off the top, and then we can build up a thumb around another bracket. We can attach that to complete Charizard's hand. For his arm, we can use an orange ball joint for the shoulder, then add a cone. For his elbow, I'd like to build something like this, but the parts in orange are still only available in that one expensive set. So instead, I think we'll have to sacrifice the mobility for now, and use a Technic connector. I'll probably go back in and swap those parts out once they're a little more available. But for now anyway, that completes Charizard's arm, and we can move on to building up his dad bod. Let's start with some of these curved slopes. To get his pear-shaped belly, I want to angle these next slopes like so. We can accomplish that with some hinges. Let's lock them in with a couple of plates. I want to have some orange peeking out from behind. These macaroni tiles can fit in here, and I'll connect them in with a couple more plates. Let's attach a mirrored assembly to the other side. We'll need to fix these two parts in place with the help of another hinge plate. With that nice and sturdy, let's continue Charizard's bod with some more slopes. We can properly angle this section of the body by using some clips. Let's make sure to use tan ones on the outside, since they'll probably be visible in the end. This little subassembly can connect into our slopes, and we can clip that into place. All these angles have created a bunch of gaps on the belly that honestly resemble abs a little too much for my liking. We should really cover them up so that we can restore Charizard's fearsome tum. Looks like we've got room on the back here to connect that in, but in order to do so, we'll need to build up his internal structure. A jumper and this fancy plate can allow for a centered stud connection point. Next, let's add in this socket for his neck joint. Afterwards, I'll add in some round plates and a tile, which can support the belly when we attach this in. Over on the dish, we can attach in some parts to get a bar connection point. We can add that to the jumper plate underneath his belly. I'm starting to think this black socket might end up sticking out, so let's do some minor surgery and replace it with a red one. Since this part isn't available in orange, I think that red is our best bet for it blending in. With the belly now looking good, we can get to work on a little subassembly to provide us with some shoulder joints. Let's slide on some Technic bits. To the connectors, let's add a pin axle, so that the shoulder sockets get a little extra range of motion. While we're at it, let's build up Charizard's hip connection as well. I'll use this bone and connect a socket. Then, a stopper axle and some lift arms can attach it all together. Let's go ahead and connect that into the rest of our assembly. I think the little bit of extra motion in the shoulders is going to allow for some cool poses. Let's round out the belly with one more dish. To connect it in at an angle, I'll use a ball and socket joint. We can continue the underbelly with this slope. I'll add a mixel joint to this, and then this snot brick will allow me to attach in one slope. After adding in a ball joint, we can snap the two assemblies together. Let's do some more cosmetic surgery to connect in the lower belly, and then we can add in the rest. To really accentuate Charizard's tongue and continue his pear-shaped body, I want to add in some slopes here. For that, I'll build up a stack of plates and bricks. This build has been a fun change of pace for me, compared to the more heavily detailed Bionicle type builds that I usually do. It's meant using way more system than you've probably seen me use before. Although even here, I like to use rods to connect things together. We can add in a couple hollow studs for spacing, and then attach this into the body. I've built a gap into the body panel, so that his shoulder joints can still swing freely. We still need some attachment points for Charizard's wings. Some hinges will allow for a natural angle. Then, this wedge plate can limit the movement of these socket parts. Let's add a couple more hinges to strengthen the connection. Then, to hide the gray bits, let's connect some orange tiles to the front. Over on the back, we can beef up some boat studs, then connect them in. From here, we just need to stack a few more plates and decorative parts, so that this assembly is able to connect into the rest of the build. He's looking good on the front, but his back still needs some attention. First, let's build up the base of Charizard's tail. I've decided that in order to get this looking correct, we'll need to constrain the tail's motion slightly, so that it only points in one direction. I still want it to be slightly posable, so I'm building up this Technic assembly, which should allow for it to pivot. We can use this socket to attach it in, and this will also give us a spot to connect the tail later. For now, let's attach this into his back. For the final bit of back cladding, let's use another curved slope. To that, I'll attach a wheel well and some wedge plates. Then, we need to use a stud reversal before we're able to connect it in. A great way to do that is with some rounded plates and 2 long bars. With the studs now sufficiently reversed, we can connect it in to finish off Charizard's body. With his dad bod done, the only thing left to build is his legs. For Charizard's feet, let's start off with a ball joint, and then build that up with a bunch of system. I want to go with some chunky toes, so these cheese slopes are perfect. For the other 2 toes, I'll build them up around a robot hand. Let's snap them into the bar plate we added earlier. Next, let's cover up this unsightly light gray with a couple of plates and a slope. On the sides, I'll connect a bracket. We can use the new studs it supplies to bulk up the foot. Let's add a mirrored assembly to the other side, and then cover the back with a boat stud. That wraps up Charizard's foot, and we can start in on his leg. For it, I think this giant macaroni and a Bionicle shoulder armor create a nice starting shape. Let's add a ball joint for the ankle, and then build up a Technic structure for a strong core to the rest of the leg. Let's go ahead and use a large ball joint for the hip. And then, with the structure in place, we can start to detail this leg. To attach in the large curve, let's add a Technic brick and a half pin. Let's use another half pin and a Technic connector to attach that Bionicle armor. I'll build up another cheeky stud reversal so that we can attach some details to the other side. Let's start with a slope, which we can build up. Let's attach that into the stud reversal. The way that the LEGO math works out means that there's a little gap here, which is really raining on my parade. Luckily, I know that that gap can be perfectly filled by this bracket. We might as well use that to detail the top of his leg while we're at it. Let's add that back in, and then we can take an opportunity here to strengthen things further by adding in a Technic brick. Even after all that is said and done, there's still a little gap here, which I guess we could fill with another bracket. I'll use this large one and build it up with some curved slopes. Next, I'll temporarily remove our slopes, add in the bracket we built up, and reattach the slopes to complete the leg. All that's left to do is connect in the foot, and then we can start in on the final assembly. Let's begin by connecting his neck. Then we can attach that to his body. Afterwards, let's snap in Charizard's legs. We can follow that up with his tail. Let's attach his arms. And finally, we can add in his wings. Let's connect the free end of the wings with a T-bar. Then I'm gonna pray it was worth spending $100 on this song. And it's time for the beauty shots.
I wanna be the very best that no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon!
Thanks again to all my amazing patrons and channel members. And special shout out to my newest supporter, Icarax. You guys are the building blocks to make this channel possible.
Best friend in the world we must defend. Pokemon, our hearts so true. Our courage will pull us through. You teach me
If you like this video, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this one too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, happy building.